All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Podcast of Verra. Today I am joined by Maezriel one more time and by Xillin. How you guys doing?
Good, man.
All right,
Yeah,
all
doing
right.
great.
I'm kind of excited. You know, we weren't gonna do I was gonna do a podcast today, just with Maezriel, but we're gonna do it after the alpha test. But since the alpha kind of got canceled, decided that it would be a really, really good opportunity. Since I'm sure Xillin, you were ready to play it, and I knew you'd probably be available, so I figured it'd be a good time to get you in here and have a cool discussion. You know, the reason for this podcast is actually because of two videos that you've made recently that I saw. The first video, and it was titled why, it was something like why Ashes of Creation is too hardcore for you, but why you should play it anyways, right? And then the second one you just released today, I believe. Was it today or yes, today,
Yeah,
right?
Yes, sir. It was today. Just a few hours
What was it
ago.
called? What was it called?
It is called. But just put me on the spot on that whole.
No, I'm sorry. It's
it's okay. It's called Ashes of Creation. PVE content is the key to this PVP game.
That's it. And in that one, you went over a comment that somebody else made about kind of sort of, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's important not to alienate the PVE players and focus solely on PvP, or else, you know, the game won't have like that long-term success that people are really hoping for. And same thing vice versa. You know, it's kind of finding that happy medium where you can keep people on the PvP side and the PvE side happy. So I kind of thought those two videos really had a lot of things in common with them. So I really wanted to talk about that. And the first thing I wanted to talk about was why is Ashes of Creation PvP too hardcore, and is it too hardcore? You know, so you know, one of the things about it is that the PvP is an unavoidable foundational system to the game. So it's not one of those things that you can really mess with too much without kind of breaking the game. So why don't you tell me a little bit about how you feel, man?
Well, for me, the key thing about that, or the key reason why I made the video, and when I say this, I want to preface it by saying that I am not in any way trying to disparage the World of Warcraft player base. They're playing a game that they love. I've played the game. Almost everybody who ends up watching this is going to be somebody who's played the game. So I'm not trying to do that. But the simple fact is that there are a lot of people who World of Warcraft and its many clones, Rift and Star Wars
Many clones.
and Lord of the Rings Online, many clones, are the only type of MMO they've ever played. And they start hearing all the systems that are being put in place in Ashes of Creation, in which I almost don't care who you're talking to. You could be talking to somebody who doesn't even play video games, and if you start explaining these systems to them, they start getting interested. Oh, that sounds really cool. And so you're talking to these WoW players or these WoW clone players, and you're explaining the systems, and they get excited, and they're like, yeah, I want to play. And they start watching all the videos, and they're running off and buying Alpha 1 and all this stuff. And I just wanted to let people know that this game is going to be a different experience than what you've experienced in any other of those types of games. Now, there are some people like your EVE Online players, your Albion Online players, your old Lineage 2 players that have experienced. Right, there you go. Those people have experienced you can be killed anywhere and you lose all of or some of your stuff when that happens. And so those people, they're more prepared or whatever, but there's a lot who haven't. And so I just wanted to let them know that this game is going to be hardcore. You're going to get killed while you're, what'd you say earlier, picking berries. Somebody's going to kill you while you're picking berries.
I'm picking my berries, man.
Right. And I don't want those people to quit, because on the other side of that is an amazing experience that can only be replicated in a mixed PvP PvE game. And so that was kind of the message, and I was, just trying to convey that message in a relatively short video, and hoping people would stick through that first time they get ganked, because it's going to happen to them, and it's going to happen to me and you and all of us.
Yeah, and then you're gonna get a message in the middle of town being like, "Hey, I'm getting ganked. Can someone help me?" And you're gonna be able to be that knight coming down like the Riders of Rohan, being super awesome. Like that.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, because I'm a big PvPer, and I like I get it where a lot of people are coming from the World of Warcraft side, because I hate World of Warcraft's world PvP, especially in retail, especially during BFA, because I don't know why Blizzard was just determined to send every Horde member to the same 3 zones for poor little level 20 Alliance members, where one character could shut it all down for no reason. They got no real reward from it. They didn't get anything from it. They were just being a dick. And it's frustrating. So like if you hear like all of this non-consensual PvP and Ashes of Creation, you're gonna I get it. That it's hard to shake that PTSD and actually be able to be excited about something like that. I know you and I have had that talk a lot, Hero, and I have to keep trying to remind you, like it's actually a good thing. There's systems set up to help you if somebody's just being a tool and trying to kill you over and over again.
And that goes into finding the right community to play with. But I don't want to get too off topic, because that'll be definitely another episode where you talk about communities. But I will just say quickly that finding the right community to be a part of, and not just guild, is going to be essential to a great and successful experience in Ashes of Creation, I believe, because this game is very, very focused, to what I've seen, in development of community and bringing people together for the good and for the bad, right?
Yes.
Yes. Because hey, let's be honest, it's really bad if I'm trying to tend to my shrubs and somebody decides to come and stab me in the back and I drop half my shit. You know what I mean? I'll kind of be a little bit perturbed. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
but I mean, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that that I think that's number one. You're absolutely right that community is going to be important, and you're absolutely right that they have built this game to force interaction between players, which I think is the thing that's missing from so many MMOs these days. People are not interacting with one another. They go entire sessions or entire weeks worth of sessions without ever saying a single thing to another player or needing to rely on another player for anything else. And this game is both from the positive and negative aspect, or you can look at it both from a bringing people together for cooperation and conflict. That might be a better way of putting it. Forcing people to interact with one another, and that's fantastic. And also when you talk about the finding a community beyond your guild, Stephen has said several times that your number one association is going to be your node, not your guild. Your node is more important than your guild. And I think that the nodes, and in specific small regions of nodes, are going to create that community that you're talking about. And finding the nodes that are doing the types of things that you want to do and moving into them and interacting with them, I think that is going to be very key to people's success and happiness within the game.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree to that. Same time, it's just kind of like, kind of ask yourself why. Let me ask you this, Maezriel. If you were to say why PvP is too hardcore, what would you say? If somebody was worried about it being too hardcore, what would your answer be to that? Do you think it is too hardcore for people who are not PvPers? Because I'll be honest, and I don't know. I know that you're not currently streaming, but I know that you will be starting to stream soon. But I know me for a fact. I've had multiple people that have, watched me talk about Ashes of Creation, watch me, do Ashes of Creation streams where I'm just kind of talking about like systems and things like that, going over footage or whatever. And they say that straight up will not play the game because of its, excessive PvP, So, I mean, honestly, that kind of worries me. And part of, like, when I watched your video today, Xillin, it really, really kind of struck a chord with me when I can't remember. I wanted to write down that guy's name who left a comment that kind of prompted you to make this video, because it was really a good comment. And it really, like, the stuff that he was saying was echoing things that I've been saying on my stream literally for like the last month, and talking to privately to Maezriel about, about this sort of, need to keep the, just not to overdo it. You know what I mean? Not to overdo it. Go ahead.
So there's two ways to do it. One, there's what the general AOC community is going to say, which is, if you come in and you say, I'm not going to play because I don't like PvP, they're going to tell you.
They're going to say, maybe this is not the game for you.
Yeah, they're literally just say, you're not the target audience, which is accurate and fair and true.
But it's not fair, though. That's not fair.
It is. If some people just want a more PvE experience. Like, there's a lot of people who are going to come into this game expecting a lot of, like, great rating. I know you and I, Xillin, we've talked about this on another podcast. Like, I don't think that's a good call. If you're coming in here,
I don't think the rating in this game's not going to be fun or hard or anything like that.
Like, I think it'll be fine. I think most of the challenge is going to be coming from the fact that you have to fight off other people. Like,
right.
Ragnaros can literally be done without gear, but Ragnaros in the middle of Alterac Valley would be destructive. Like, he's not a hard boss, but he's
that's a really good freaking analogy, man. Okay, I like that.
So, like, anybody who comes in expecting to run something as tight as Castle Nathria or anything from Final Fantasy 14, there might be some difficulty there, but a lot of it's going to come down to just beating off the guys trying to kill this boss on top of you. There's tagging and stuff like that, and that's a whole other nightmare to talk about right now. But there's not going to be a lot of great, really in-depth PvE because I just don't see how there can be and still let the bosses be fightable in any meaningful.
Well, no,
they can't be, like, clearable.
They did say that 20% of the dungeons will be instanced, i.e.
hold on. I don't know if they said that. Sorry to interrupt you, but I don't know if they said 20% of dungeons or 20% of content.
I think about it being 20% of the world.
I think they said 20% of the content might be instanced, and I think that includes arenas and battlegrounds, and as part of that, I don't think they said 20% of dungeons are instanced. To my knowledge, dungeons are not instanced. To my knowledge,
some might be. Like, we saw in the dungeon preview, the big dragon fight in the dungeon. That was an instance.
Oh, was it? Okay.
But even let's say even if that boss fight is super hard and tight, it's getting to it is going to be such a nightmare that people aren't going to have fun. Like, there comes a point, and I know there's a core pillar of the player base, at least of the community, like the active community, that really wants a super hardcore game, and they want, like, no UI. They want the fights to last forever. They want to have to rest after it, and it's a lot of these things that sound really good on paper. The moment you start playing, it's just going to become such an exhausting drag that I don't know if people are actually going to find it fun. Like, if it takes me an hour just to get to the boss and get through all the other people trying to get to the boss, I'm not going to have a fun time clearing that boss. Because World of Warcraft, you're set up to do 200, 300, 400, 600 runs easily to clear a boss. Like, you're there, and that you're trying to do as many clears of that boss as you possibly can in a single night, and I don't see that happening for AOC, because just getting there is supposed to be a journey.
Right.
For more the PvP side of it, like, PvE is definitely important. I don't want to, like, talk down on the PvE. It plays its role. But it's mostly to feed for gear, to feed for PvP. Like, that's just the game. If it's
that kind of worries me though. I want you to finish. I don't want to interrupt you. I want you to finish, but I want to get back to that when you're done.
But, like Xillin mentioned it, it really, this kind of PvP and the way it's being built, it's hyper regionalized.
Maezriel, I think
Yeah,
you're muted. Oh, okay. You cut out for a second there, buddy. Are you okay?
I'm still here.
Okay, good. Sorry, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, but this kind of PvP kind of just does nothing but grow your immediate little region, which I agree with Xillin. If anything like Eve was where people just kind of clustered into the same star systems, and some of them grew to pretty large. For AOC, we're probably going to see like even the biggest of guilds, like Asmongold's entire community, will probably only take one node. Maybe it's surrounding 3 to 4 if there's like the supplementary nodes near it, but I really don't foresee any singular entity taking over massive.
That's where I agree with you on. I know there's a lot of people, and you tell me your thoughts on this, Xillin, as well, man. But there's a lot of people that are really worried about these mega guilds, man. I hear a lot of talk about that. People taking over servers, taking over this, taking over. I don't think the game is set up that way. And the reason why I say that is because, I mean, I think that obviously that's something, if you have even the halfest of brains, you're going to think that that's going to be an issue as a developer, and you are going to come up with ways for the community to naturally be able to counter attack that idea, or that threat is a better way to put it, right? You have this big ginormous guild, call them whatever you want to call them, and following whatever streamer they're following, and they try to take over the world. I mean, even if there's 5,000 of them, that's to get them all on at the exact same time. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't see that as likely. And at the same time, the rest of the people on the server are still going to they're still going to I just got a text. I'm sorry. I switched your names around, guys. Everybody, just so you guys know, where it says Xillin is Maezriel, and Maezriel, right where it says Xillin, that's actually Maezriel. And where it says Maezriel, that's actually Xillin. Just so you guys know. Sorry about that. We had some technical issues, or I had some technical issues when I was setting this up. And just kind of like, I was really fumbling with trying to get the cameras to go on stream. Any of you guys who have ever tried to do a video cast know exactly what I'm talking about. And for some reason, it just Streamlabs OBS was not being cooperative with me. So yes, I realize that, guys. I realize that. And I also realize, if you're watching this on YouTube, that the first 2 minutes, Xillin was kind of like this. For the first 2 minutes. Yeah, I know. But I fixed that too. All right. Go ahead, man. Let's get back to it, Maezriel. Sorry about that, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, I don't think it's, okay, how do I want to say this? I understand where people are coming from. Like I said, like World of Warcraft really doesn't do a good job at preparing you for world PvP. At most, if you played in the classic realms or some of the private servers with role players were really good about developing really fun world PvP events, but there's no stakes in it. So anybody who's killing you is just doing it to be a dick. Whereas in AOC, definitely going to happen, but a lot of it also comes down to, are you gathering something that I want? Yes, you might be gathering berries, but I want them, so killing you is worth it. Are you farming mobs that I want? Like things like that. Like, do I just need to kill you just because I need some corruption for whatever reason? Like there's reasons behind wanting to start a conflict. You also could just be, you're from a neighboring node, and I'm kind of
not always though. Not always. Some people are just shit disturbers because.
Sure. And if you
there are the shit disturbers because that is going to exist, but it's going to be so much less than in so many other MMOs that have this kind of open PvP, because you know, like I've done quite a bit of investigation into the whole corruption system and how it's all going to work, and you're not going to. It's not going to be the risk reward versus getting corrupted and going red and everything you can lose is not going to be worth it to just do.
You know, I kind of think that, like, I keep on, because I've gone back and forth on that, and I kind of think you're right. Okay, and
Right.
I'm gonna use this as an example. I don't know if I know Maezriel, you did not, but Xillin, did you ever play Black Desert Online?
No.
No, okay. Black Desert Online is a very PvP centric game, especially when it came out. Okay, they're actually just now finally adding dungeons and raids to the game. Okay, that's how PvP it was, that they didn't even really have any PvE except for leveling and grinding, you know. But other than that, there's literally no PvE. The storyline is horrendous. But anyway, it's not what this is about. Okay, the game itself was a very, very, very hyper PvP focused game. Okay, and even in that game, I didn't get ganked out. I didn't get ganked all the time. You know, most of the overwhelming majority of the time that I got ganked in that game was because of the crew that I was running with, which was, you know, my guild, you know, and the tag that was over my head, okay, at the time. Then that's gonna happen to you in this game, I believe, is you will be marked based on who you're representing. You know what I mean? If you're in a guild and people don't like you much, they're gonna mess with you. You know?
Except for that it's not gonna be your guild, it's gonna be your node. The neighboring node wants to bring you down because you know your node, you know, because they can't grow their node. And I think that's gonna be the biggest issue, is the nodes or the regions between nodes are going to kind of be on a almost like kill on sight type status with one another pretty quick, I think.
I think that just because, okay, no, you go ahead, Maezriel. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
No, I was just gonna say, so we have that on top of the, as we said, as hyper regional as everything will be. You're very likely not going to be traveling to the farthest reaches of Verra over and over and over again. You're not going to be just teleporting back and forth. You're pretty much that is where you're going to spend the most of your time, is your node. Yeah, and if you are traveling out, it's to go it's either A, because you just want to be a lone wanderer adventurer, or if it's for your node, you're going out to go hunt goblins in one area, because bringing that back is more valuable than hunting the ones right next to you.
Yeah,
that means those people that, like, even now for classic, if I jump into my classic guild, they'll talk to me about people that they know, like, oh yeah, you know that little dwarf who hangs out in any freaking zone just to gank people. Like, they talk about these people. You're gonna get, you know, Noob Smasher 69 in the game, and then
Noob Smasher
yeah, and 60 levels later, you're gonna know him by sight. He's gonna know you, and you're gonna go, hey, this dick is being a dick again, and 10 other people from your town are gonna come in and get him, just because you're gonna have that kind of reputation. You can't jump to another server. You can't shard yourself away. You can't run and hide. You can't just make a new character, because it's gonna take months for, like me. I'm on Wowhead. I've leveled more characters than most in World of Warcraft ever, and I've done it on speedrunning. Like, I'm not going to be able to level super fast. Like, you can't solve AOC's leveling because the nodes change everything.
Nor should you want to. I mean, I know that's not the subject right now, but nor should you want to. So, you know, I'm hoping this game will be a journey game, not a destination game. Yeah,
for sure it is. And all these things serve as like natural barriers to just being a massive douchebag. Let alone, of course, just corruption. If you are a level 60 and you're pounding on people in the starting zone, your corruption is going to spike super fast. If it's anything remotely close to how it is right now, it's going to spike. But that's like the intent, is it's going to spike so that very quickly they're going to start womping on you. And it's not going to feel good to be level 60 getting womped on by a small pack of level 5s.
Right. Let me ask you guys this really quickly. Let me ask you guys this really quickly.
Real fast.
Oh, yeah, go.
Maezriel, you just said the key word. I have said this like 50 times in different videos and podcasts and streams and stuff. That word is reputation. A lot of the MMO community is not used to playing a game where your reputation matters. In World of Warcraft, your reputation is almost completely pointless and doesn't matter at all because there's so many players and they all can zip around the world. So it doesn't matter where you tend to hang out. You can zip over to the main whatever the main hub is right now and go away and all that stuff. Where with this game, I think a person in one of our podcast mentioned that apparently up until relatively very recently in human history, everybody was born, lived and died within 20 miles of where they were born.
Yeah.
And I kind of think that's going to be the same thing here. Yeah, you might leave, but your home is your node, and so you're going to be coming back. And so your reputation within your node and within your region of nodes is going to actually matter. And so how other people see you and what they think about you is going to matter for the first time in any MMO since, I guess Eve has that to some degree, but Ultima Online is as far back as I think of where people actually knew who you were, what your personality was, if you were a scammer, all that stuff. So I just wanted to point out that Maezriel, you hit the nail on the head with that. That word reputation is a word people are going to have to start learning what it means.
Well, relearning. Anybody who played, anyone who's currently playing Classic knows it, but it's a little different in Classic since we solved leveling and it's so fast that you can kind of just blitz through it, and you can have multiple characters, and sometimes you'll know that this guild in your server is kind of a dick. But way back in vanilla, all the way up until the LFG launch, that was pretty much the big thing. I want to say that was Cataclysm. So up through Wrath, people know who you were. If you showed up and you were tanking, and you're like, hey, yeah, this guy definitely knows what he's talking about for a pug, because they just knew you, and you don't get that in anything, because Final Fantasy pretty much started out with a big group finder. Sworder just kind of yeets you into wherever you are. Like most modern MMOs do that, which is a lot of the reason people are so excited for this. Like, that's one of my favorite things with Eve, is going back and looking at some of the old stories, and like these huge apocalyptic wars of people, and like you don't get to make your mark like that anymore in MMOs. Which is why another reason, like with PvP, don't be too afraid. You're gonna get smashed a little bit, but honestly, it's not gonna be as bad as you think it is, because they're gonna build a reputation for being massive douches, and that's it. That they're not gonna be able to do anything. People aren't gonna want to trade with them. That's gonna be a problem. People won't want to party with them. That's gonna be a problem. People are gonna want to just gank them. They're gonna be signing their own death warrant. The community has a nice way of balancing itself out when these systems are in place.
Right.
You know, Dot Blank actually, I want to get back to the comment really quickly about living and dying in the same 20 miles as you were born in. But really quickly, Dot Blank brings up a really good question. He says, when you reach max level, the experience debt no longer matters, right? And that's kind of like one of those theory crafting things. But I think experience debt is going to matter when you reach level 50.
It
okay,
will.
and
Steven
this is
has
why,
already
because
talked about it.
Oh, has he? I haven't heard, but what I imagine. So tell me how right I am. Okay. I think eventually they're going to raise a level cap. Okay. And if you have an ungodly amount of experience debt, you're going to be playing forever to get that experience, so you can start getting to 51. Is that the case, or what?
Do you want me to put how right you are in a percentage? In a
scale of 1 to 5.
Okay, I was 0% right. Okay, not to rub it in, dick. All right,
that's true.
What is going to happen is, as you accrue experience debt, once you get to level 50, and I think this will be regardless if you're level 50 or not, but definitely at level 50 or max level, whatever it's going to be, your combat effectiveness is going to reduce more and more and more and more.
The more experience debt you have?
You're going to have to go grind off your experience debt when you die a lot. Which also I think is going to be how they simulate that the pressure of the sieges, because the defense, the way, since it's an instance, the castle siege is instance, the defense just spawns basically on top of the throne room or close to it. And I think that the way you're going to counteract that is by killing the defense over and over and over again, to the point that their combat effectiveness is pointless and you can just wipe them out in seconds. So yeah, that's the answer to that question.
Yeah.
All right, well, getting back to what I wanted to say. Oh, go ahead.
So I was going to say, it's another reason why I said I don't know how hardcore the PVE actually can be, because not just getting to the boss. Imagine, like, people running around for world buffs in Warcraft right now is a nightmare enough. Imagine having like raids of people having to go find mobs just to burn off some XP debt so they can go in for the next kill.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's going to be a really fine balancing act. I don't envy the position Intrepid decided to put themselves in with this, but hey, that's what they wanted to do. Um, we'll see how it plays out. But because of the XP debt and corruption and everything, yeah, PvP is going to be so up in the air. It'll be fun to see. I don't think
Well,
you should be too concerned about the PvP.
I will say, I'm glad that they did think ahead about the experience stat, and that kind of gives me a little bit more faith that they're thinking ahead about other things like, May guilds and things like that. Yeah, Dot Blank, thank you so much for the question, man. And you guys asking questions, is we will get to your question as long as they're on topic. I'll get to your question, so you can go ahead and feel free to ask questions, okay? If you're watching Twitch now. Getting back to what you said about the whole living and dying 20-mile radius, and you think people are going to really spend a lot of time in their nodes. I think so in the beginning with developing that node, but there's so much to the game, to your character and building your character, that you really need other nodes. Okay, because what if your node happens to be a military node? That's not going to help you move any products you got to move. You need to be going to these other nodes and to an economical node and scientific node for different things, and you're gonna be traveling the world. You're not just gonna be staying in your node and building it up, or you won't be able to. You're gonna be half-ass, right?
You're gonna be traveling. You're gonna be traveling your region, not the world. Stephen has specifically said he wants travel time to matter, and so there's going to be very limited, like extremely limited, fast travel options.
Well, that has nothing to do with fast travel. Is one. I'm not talking about anything at all about fast travel.
Right. So in other words, like, yeah, you might leave to go to an economic node if you happen to get like a lot of some material or item or weapon or something that you want to sell, and you want to go to a stage 6 economic node that shares their auction house with all the other auction houses or whatever, so that you can get you can get your stuff up for everybody to use. But in general, if you need to go to a scientific node for something, you're going to find whatever scientific node is in your region. And I suspect most of the regions in the game will be built around the fact that we found all 4 node types in a relatively small area, and that's going to be one region of the game. I don't think anybody's going to be just traveling the world willy-nilly, because the time it's going to take to do that is going to be too extensive.
Or if they do that, it's specifically because they just want to wander. Because by the time you get back, that node could be changed. It could be under siege. And we don't know like how many quests are going to be per each one, how they're going to be scattered out. I would be impressed if it's not very loose, but yeah, I think most of the focus will be on your little corner of the world, not so much visiting everything, unless you specifically make that a goal, is to go visit everything. Um,
Right.
I mean, who's to say? It could definitely go either way, but I personally think it's going to be far more regional than a lot of people are considering, especially with like we've all seen the Alpha One island is massive.
It
It
is.
is massive,
I haven't had
and
a
that's
chance
only
to
a.
really explore it as much as I wanted to.
I know it's supposed to be tonight.
But
Why
I wasn't.
servers?
I was going to be playing. I was going to be into it right now, still. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to tonight, and I couldn't play the last one because it was I would have only been able to play like an hour or something before I had to leave and go pick up my girlfriend from from her parents' house. So I couldn't really get into that one either. So
as we talk about the regionality, though, and kind of bringing a bit more back to PvP, it's another reason, of course, that you shouldn't be afraid of PvP in this game, no matter how hardcore it's going to be, is that it's a core part of it. It builds everything. The whole reason you want to kill monsters and do the PvE aspect is just like what you would want for Monster Hunter. You need it to craft better gear, to get you guys geared up to go fight other nodes, to go change your own node, to defend your node. Um, like without the PvP, the raiding and the monsters would be utterly pointless. You're just farming to get more gold for no reason. Um, and at the end of that, what's the reason? The PvP is intrinsically tied to keeping the cycle going. So you're actually constantly destroying and rebirthing everything. It's the literal point of the game.
Yeah, the whole Ashes of Creation. You know, but that brings me to something else.
Sure.
I mentioned earlier to you guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw the log onto the fire and see what happens. Okay.
Do it.
Not everybody is gonna be down with the PvP. You know, I'm just gonna be real. They're just not. And I get it. I get it. This game might not be for everyone, but I think it's important to try to exhaust all possibilities before we tell somebody who has been suffering through years and years and years of World of Warcraft and their whole host of clones that finally the first out of the box thinking MMO to be released in like over a decade is not for them. I think we should at least exhaust options. Okay. That being said, I came up with a fantastic idea. I think that it's like aces to make PvPers happy, keep them happy, right? And give the PvEers who are a little bit worried a little bit less of a worry. Okay. Now, I know that Steven has said he does not want to have multiple servers. Okay. And Steven, if you ever watch this, okay, listen here. Okay. All right. I understand that. Okay. And honestly, that is one of the reasons why I love this project and disliked this project. Part of it is certain parts of the project, not the project as a whole. I love this project. But one of the main reasons why I like this project so much is because Steven doesn't really seem that willing to bend. Okay? And it is so damn refreshing in MMO development to finally see a creative director who has so much passion for the product that they know what they want to create. They know the vision that they want, and people will try to sway them and they're going to say, no, that's not my vision, you know? And I can't help but support that. You know, it takes balls to do something like that. But at the same time, you know, this game, like, I feel like we as a community of MMO players have earned the right to play this game. Okay? That being said, I would propose having full-on PvP servers the way that they've decided to. What perfect music for this, right, guys? Okay. And also another server that is event-based PvP only. Okay? What I mean by that, castle sieges, node sieges, monster coin boss battles, or however that's going to work, right? Arenas, battlegrounds, and caravans. Okay? The only thing missing from that on those servers would be someone being able to pick their berry and some dingleberry not being able to come behind them and stab them in the back. That's it. That's the only, you know what I mean? And I think something like that is so easy to do. It's an option that just gets like, that they could literally just toggle off. And I think that just doing that would make so many people who are just apprehensive, not sure, just get really, 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 kind of, the whole idea of PvP just gives them anxiety. There's a lot of people that are like that. Not me. I don't really suffer from that, fortunately, but I know a lot of people who do, you know? And like I said, go ahead, please. Well, one last thing. Like I said, I just don't want this to turn into, whenever you bring something up like this, it always turns into a whole, this game is just not for you thing. And part of the conversation is actually having the conversation and trying to see, you know, what you can come up with to satisfy people while still, you know, holding to your vision. Okay?
Sure.
Please, Maezriel, tell me what you think and what you're thinking, you know?
The
And if
game
you
wouldn't
disagree, tell
survive
me
like
why.
that.
Okay,
It
why?
would not function.
Well,
So
I
when it
mean,
comes
all
to
other
the
MMOs
game-
that have multiple servers, I would beg to differ, right? Different
Sure.
servers, you know?
When it comes to MMOs, when it comes to whether or not this game is for you, if you are Preach and your whole life revolves around the super hardcore, tight raids of World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy, give AOC a try. You might actually enjoy a good deal of it. But if the raiding is the only reason you play an MMO, probably better games out there. For everything else, for
Yeah.
everyone else, AOC's probably got a spot for you. The reason I say so, remember, you don't have like great. You have you might have enough players that would sign up for a siege, but you don't have the predominant of your PvP players. They're going to be in the PvP realm, and you can't just like bring them from other realms. There's no cross server play. There is no queuing like that. So if the majority of your PvP players are on a PvP realm, or they realize that if they go to PvE realms, they can just dominate a bunch of people who don't PvP, it's not going to be fun for either one. On top of that, PvE does, like me, I like playing PvE. I like playing games. I hate crafting. I don't mind working in an auction house. I hate crafting. And Jeffrey Bard has been quoted as saying they worked very hard to make crafters the stars of this game. It is everything in this game. You don't have that. If PvP doesn't happen, armor is not being destroyed as frequently. If PvP doesn't happen, people can have entire monopolies on mats with no real recourse, just like we see in World of Warcraft right now in retail with bots. You don't have to bot, you just have people that are just there a lot.
Okay, I didn't consider that. I didn't consider that obviously the difficult or the amount of materials needed in order to craft an item or to do whatever you got to do is going to be based off of, you know, how many somebody is going to be able to safely obtain on average, you know. So okay, I didn't consider something like that, you know. But
yeah, and if you're sitting in town and you go, please sir, I will make you sword, I bad at PvP, you're gonna get 10 guys coming by going,
why did you choose broken English for that? No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Great, I will keep you safe, you make
please,
me sword.
Sir.
That's like that's
please sir,
that's
I need
game.
a sword.
Like, and if you don't have that, what, you've got a guy that's just asking for people to escort him out to farm mats? Like, the PvP is a huge part of that, and it's also gonna be a huge part of building the community, building those memories. Like, I don't think it's like taking the PvP out of Eve. There's just no more Eve with that. I don't know. Do you disagree?
Tell me what you think, man. I want to know.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on 1 second.
Okay. You know, I did not consider.
Okay, well, I told you I was busy in here. All right, sorry about that, guys.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
If you guys will allow me a soliloquy, I'm going to go on like a 10-minute diatribe here. Response to this.
Hold on.
To what you have
Hold
going
on.
there.
Okay, go.
Okay, so you put a time down. Okay, so I'm gonna have to start by telling a quick story. Okay,
Story time with Xillin. I love it.
Have you ever played Ultima Online? You're old enough to have been around way back in the early days of that game.
Yes, I was old enough. No, my first MMO was Final Fantasy 11. But go ahead.
I played Ultima Online.
Okay, so we're talking about the first like 2.5 years, maybe 3 years of Ultima Online. Every server was just one copy of the game. There was one world, and it was open PvP everywhere except for inside of cities. And you dropped 100% of the stuff you were carrying when you died. And that didn't matter if you died to another person or if you died to, just an NPC in the game or whatever. You dropped all your stuff. Okay, so people started complaining and making a lot of the same arguments that you're making and all of that stuff. And I think you have to understand at this time, Ultima Online was the MMO. It had sucked a lot of the player base away from EverQuest, and it was just huge. And as far as MMOs were concerned, which it was a tiny fraction of the overall gamers at the time, but at the time that was the MMO. And so what they did was they made it where every server was 2 copies of the world jammed up next to each other, and you could move about freely between the 2 copies of the world. There was like 8 or 10 places on the map where you could go to move, and one was called Felucca, and Felucca was exactly the same as the game had always been, and Trammel was exactly what you're describing. There was like guild PvP. You could fight each other kind of anywhere in the game if your guilds were at war with one another, but other than that, there was no PvP in the game. And what happened was the entire, and I mean the entire player base moved from Felucca to Trammel overnight. Nobody played on Felucca.
I know, because nobody would want, because if given a choice, they're going to choose the one where they're safer.
Where they're safer, yes. So hold on, I'm not done with the story yet.
I know, it's not 10 minutes yet.
Right now, you're thinking, haha, I'm winning this conversation because he just proved my point. Okay, so that happened. Everybody moved. Even the PvPers moved, because then they could grind and farm and get money and get crafting and all that stuff way easier. And so before that happened, a house in the game, the smallest house in the game, cost about 80,000 gold. A year after that happened, the same house cost 1 million gold. That's what happened to the inflation, because everybody could just grind all day long in complete safety. And you know what happened? Everybody left the game. Nobody wanted to stick. I would have played that game. I would probably still be playing that game if that was how it worked. But because of the safety and the way it all worked, the PvEers left because they got tired of grinding, because it just becomes a grind game at that point. And then the PvPers left because there was nobody left to kill, because the PvEers left. That's what happens. And so you made the point. Now, you didn't make this specific point when you just now did your example of how the game could be. You made it in kind of the pre-show when we were talking about it backstage. But you said that it would be a way of making the game to allow the PvEers to play that would not affect the PvPers in any way whatsoever.
Yes,
and that's
true.
Actually not true. That's actually factually not a true statement, because everybody would go play on the PvE server. Nobody would play on the PvP server except for the hardcore of the PvP, and they would be complaining about the fact that the servers are dead and there's nobody to fight, and you're fighting the same 55 people over and over and over again.
I mean, you see that right now. Look at Overwatch. One of the biggest problems is its matchmaking is so bad at the upper echelon that everybody smurfs. Same thing with Apex. Like you can look at the top competitive games that 1% of players, they smurf all the time because there's nobody for them to play against. They're only playing against the same 6 people. Like, oh no, I'm so good at the game, only a handful of people can be at my level. Life is miserable.
Right.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah,
this is one of the big reasons why. This is one of the big reasons why I really like doing podcasts, for instance, right? Where you have people that have their own opinions, that that are willing to bounce ideas off, because until you said that, and well, actually Maezriel made a really good point too about the economy, which you kind of echoed, but in a different way. I kind of now don't like my idea anymore much. You know what I mean? Because when you hey Vertec, how you doing, buddy? When you put it in that way, it really makes sense, and I think it's hey, I'm glad somebody loves my idea. I think it's one of those things that, like I said, it's important to talk about things. It's important to figure out, exactly what is what people are looking for, what people are gonna like, things like that. Yo, thank you so much, Gold. Normally I don't talk about, like, follows and things like that while I'm doing a podcast, because I just, you know what I mean, we're trying to do the podcast. But thank you so much, Golden Feather, for that raid. I really appreciate that,
big
guys.
raid, yeah,
It's
awesome.
And so we're just talking about we're doing a podcast of Verra, and I got Maezriel and Xillin here with us. And yes, I do realize that the names are switched on the little video things. I had a little issue earlier with messing with Streamlabs OBS and had their stuff crisscrossed, and I forgot to fix their names. But hopefully you guys know who everybody is. Okay, so let's continue, guys. But
so
like
Hero,
I said,
real quick, I had a comment. I had a comment on my video that I put out today that I ended up pinning, because I think this might be the actual best solution to the problem that you're presenting that I've seen yet. And so I thought maybe I'd present it to you guys and see what y'all think of this. Okay, so this guy says, his name was Zach, and he says, I think a good anti-griefing or anti-PvP mechanic in and around towns might be an option for the mayor to use the taxes to hire guards. Maybe the more you spend, you get higher level guards. These guards can control the grounds around the nodes, or maybe it could expand or get smaller based on how much you spent, and attack anyone who is corrupted. That would make a cool dynamic between nodes. You might have one that's very civilized while another is essentially the Wild West. Wouldn't that be crazy to see a Wild West style node that's just full of red players that start fights with each other and living off of some unspoken thieves code? So what do you think about that?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I think that's kind of cool, and that goes into I'm gonna try not to change the topic too much, but you know, Maezriel, I don't know if you got that
I want
that role play.
Please. Yes.
I don't know if you have that roleplay Discord link handy, guys, but me and Maezriel, and I don't know if Xillin, if you're part of it, I highly recommend you join this Discord, though. It's an unofficial Ashes of Creation roleplay Discord, and what you're talking about right there is there's a whole lot of roleplay kind of in that, and I really like the idea of that. I really do, and it's not just the guard thing. There's people on that roleplay Discord who have already said that they are going to be creating like a guild of people that are going to be like, you know, node guards, where they're going to be patrolling the nodes, you know, in character, patrolling the nodes and killing anybody corrupted. That's what they're going to be doing. That's like their guild is going to exist to protect the uncorrupted from the corrupted. And I love those. I love those ideas, and it goes along with what I was saying earlier, guys, about you know, the key to success in Ashes of Creation is going to be community, and getting to know your community and talking to people and finding the right group of people to play with. And that's why for some of you guys who really may not necessarily like to roleplay in character, but you kind of like the idea of like a living, breathing world in that sense, where the players really get into it, you might enjoy that Discord. And I highly recommend you guys join, because like I said, it's kind of like that. Everybody that's on that server or that Discord is going to try to all get on the same server and have that kind of be the unofficial Ashes of Creation roleplay server. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's an exciting project. I'll be covering that a lot starting literally the 7th. Check out my channel, maezriel.twitch.tv, whatever it is. No, before for the guard part, I like that idea a lot.
I do too. I really do.
In the same realm, I think another one of the reasons not to be afraid of the PvP in this game is that, unlike Blizzard and all of its clones, Steven is really doing everything he can to just give us a big sandbox to play in and let us have fun in it, doing whatever we want to do. If people want to all get together just to kill every single mob, fine. If we all want to get together to make and build the biggest nodes without ever having a war, I don't think he'll have an issue with that. It's the fact that we get to police it, and he's not going to sit there and tell us, no, you have to be online at this time, this often, grinding these mats over and over and over. And obviously I burned out from retail pretty fast. And that's kind of like a big thing. Like you might be worried of PvP, but when people get used to having to police themselves, like even with roleplay, guard and military guilds are like a staple of every MMO. You can't hit one
Mhm.
without finding one. Sworder has
Mhm.
them, for crying out loud. I mean,
Yeah.
so
They do. There's a
yeah,
lot
it'll
of
be
them.
it'll be a lot of fun to see for sure.
Hmm. I agree. I
Uh,
agree. Go ahead. I was gonna say something.
oh, I just lost my train of thought in the middle of starting the sentence. No,
That's
go
okay.
ahead.
No,
Good at that.
you'll get it back. You'll get it back. I just I'm just really excited to see what comes of this, and I do like the idea of kind of taking the training wheels off and not kind of having a hands-off approach to things, creating an MMO where you have your systems in place, right? And those systems will allow for people to be able to play the game and experience the game the way they want to experience it. You know, and I think that that's so, honestly, it's so refreshing. One game that I've wanted to play so long, and I keep on trying to play it over and over and over, and I can't. I keep on stopping after I play for a couple weeks. Is Final Fantasy 14, and the reason why I keep on stopping that game is because of the fact that it's so linear. It makes you play the game the way they want you to play the game, and I don't want to follow rules. I am not a rule follower. In life, if you tell me I have to do this, I will do the complete opposite. So that's kind of like a game like Ashes of Creation is for me. You know, that's kind of why I really wanted to, it's kind of really why I wanted to talk about the, you know, what I talked about earlier, guys, with the PvP and the whole, you know, everything like that. And I want to talk about these things because I don't want to hear, as that guy said in your video, neckbeards, saying things like freaking, this game is not for you, you know, because it is for you. This game
Well,
is
I'm glad
for you.
I'm
know?
glad you said that because I had already remembered what I was trying to say earlier, and it relates exactly to what you just said.
Neckbeards. They are the bane of
No,
all of our
no,
existence.
well, yeah. No, that's
And,
exactly
and
what
don't be shy about saying the word neckbeards either. Okay, neckbeards call themselves neckbeards. It's an approved statement. Okay.
Okay, it's been approved. So no, it was actually about the idea that the game is not for you. And you were saying whenever you were making your pitch for your idea of how they can clean up the PvP versus PvE mess or whatever, you were saying that you didn't want to hear. You want to hear an argument or a counter argument without those words. And in general, I agree with you, and we can find ways around a lot of the things that people are complaining about or worried about or whatever, and I totally get that. And so when it comes to, I would prefer to PvP versus, or I would prefer to PvE versus PvP. Yeah, I don't want to tell you that then this game's not for you, but there is one instance where where I reach my breaking point where I'm just like, this game isn't for you.
Okay,
and I
what
started
is
thinking
it?
about it. So I started thinking about it whenever you guys were talking about the guards and the roaming groups of people and the people getting together to do all that. And essentially, this game is built for you to play with other people. This is not a soloers game. This is a community game. And so if you tell me, I don't want to do that, I don't want to play with other players, I want to play all by myself, and I don't want to have anything to do with anything, that's the point at which I say, okay, dude, this game's not for you. Go play World of Warcraft or any of its many clones, because you can play those games that way. This game is a game about getting together with other people and playing the game with other people. And if you're running around with 4 or 5 friends, you're not going to get ganked by somebody. You guys can pick berries together in safety because one person's not going to come along and ruin your day. That's my thought.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say, guys, it kind of depends. If you're looking to do like the super high end content and like pug, like in World of Warcraft, you can pug your way up through most of the game. I think like Mythic and early heroics are the only things you can't really do. But if you're cool with just knowing what your limitations are, I think there's going to be plenty you can do solo, just running around and watching the game grow. You're just not going to have as active of a role in it. You can definitely run around and just farm. You can play an auction house in an economy node. There are going to be things that you can do, but yeah, Yeah, you can run
Yeah,
around.
I'm not
and
saying
carry.
that you won't be able to do anything. I'm saying if you're
yeah,
telling me I won't play the game unless I can just play it all by myself, and therefore make the game easier for me because I want to be able to play by myself and take away the PvPers. That's the point at which I reach that point of, okay, this
Sure.
game's not for you, dude.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very careful when, and like I said, the main reason why I'm careful with saying the words, and by the way, guys, we'll do a Q&A in a little bit. So if you guys have any questions about PvP, or you guys want to make comments, you guys have ideas with PvP or the whole hardcore aspect or PvE, things like that are on topic for what we're talking about, you know, we'll get to them in a minute, okay? But you know, the reason why I'm very, very careful about telling people that this game is not for them and shutting people down too quickly is, number one, I freaking hate gatekeeping. I can't stand gatekeeping, and I don't like gatekeepers. Okay, I don't like somebody telling me that just because I feel differently than them about something, that means that I'm wrong and they're right. Okay, because most of the time you're wrong. Okay,
I'm sorry,
and that's
Zero,
just the reality.
I agree with you, so this game is no longer for you.
No, but I'm for real. You know what I mean? It's just I don't like the whole people have suffered for years and years and years, and we keep on saying this, and I'm gonna say it again. Games like World of Warcraft and their many clones, right? And we played them all ad nauseum, and we're ready for a new experience. Like we've earned this new experience. Okay, that's why I don't like people to say that this game's not for you, because it's just as much for them as it is for you. I mean, unless you're like one of those people that doesn't like playing with other people, then it's kind of rough. Okay, please interrupt.
Have you considered the thought
keeping gatekeepers
that this game is the something different that you're wanting to experience, and you're complaining about, and I don't mean necessarily you in this, is more, but people are complaining about the same style of game over and over and over again. And so somebody invents a new style of game, and now you're going, okay,
you wanted to make it the old style?
Make it exactly like the game that I used to play, and then I'll play it.
No, because I don't want it to be anything like the other games I played. I don't think that, like I said, you won me over with, you know, the whole, you know, with the whole the compare, yeah, the whole that. So I mean, you know, if it was Jerry Maguire would say like, you had me at hello, right? Okay, you had me at hello, all right. So it's not, but even if not, okay, making it the way I had proposed would not make the game like other games. It just wouldn't have. Okay, so it still would have. No, it still would have had everything. It would still have the node system, the destructible this, the freaking caravan system. The only thing it wouldn't have had was, you know,
BDO has.
But I've kind of already. BDO does not have a node system. Just because they call them nodes. It's not the same thing. You shut your whore mouth, bro. You know. I know you said that on purpose.
He's trying to trigger you, man.
Yo, we've talked about this before. I said I can't stand when people say that BDO has a node system. That's why you said that.
But yeah, no, I agree. I think we're all in agreement. If you're not looking for an MMO, there are better MMOs for solo players, which would probably be something like WoW, where you can log in, hunt out some mounts or something every once in a while, and you can pug your way really high up there. If again you're like Preach and you're in it for the super duper hardcore rating, that's all you care about. You do not, in any sense of the word, care about professions, exploration, PvP. You just want to kill the big bad boss. You might find it hard to find a home here. But for everything else, I mean, Ashes will probably have a place for you, because if you are not good at PvP, somebody is, and they need you as much as you need them, because you can say, good, I'm good at crafting, come craft from me. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I am that guy. I am Preach. For 10 years, all I've cared about is killing the hardest bosses, the newest bosses on the hardest difficulty levels faster than anybody else. For 10 years, that's all I've cared about.
It's
And
funny because
you know,
I've always been a journey person, not a destination person in MMOs.
sure.
Like I never like Final Fantasy 11. I just leveled every single class that I could to 75, and I did hardly any of the end game. World of Warcraft, I play hardcore now, where it's like if I die, I delete my character, and I don't play end game stuff like at all. You know what I mean?
Right. See, I think
it's funny.
I think that you're gonna enjoy the PvP aspect of
I like
than you think you will.
Oh no. There's certain aspects of it that we're going to enjoy, okay? And I am going to really quickly fast forward to a spot here. My favorite part of this video, guys, that we just watched, I'm trying to get to it here. Yes, right here, where they're all lined up and Steven's giving his little speech. I'm going to turn up the volume real quick. My favorite part, okay, here it is. This is like my favorite thing.
In 10-second countdown.
10-second countdown, guys.
In 9.
This was so
8,
freaking awesome.
7,
I loved every part of it. Oh, what happened?
6.
There
7,
we go.
6. Came after
This
7.
is my
5,
favorite part. When I saw this, guys, I literally
3,
flipped. I flipped.
2,
I was like, what the fuck?
1.
This is,
Narnia!
he like literally yells for Narnia, and everybody goes out there, and you're like, if you guys remember this part, like you can hear the ah! And the yelling of people dying and everything on the battlefield.
Yep.
It was just like something like what I heard in Game of Thrones or something like that. It was just so cool. This is a really cool presentation here. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to throw that one in there.
No, it was very cool.
Go ahead.
We were supposed to do it tonight, and it melted the servers. Sad.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, Steven. We're here talking instead. No, hey,
true.
no, I ain't hating at all, dude. I like that he takes chances. I like stuff like that, and yeah.
I mean, I think that we've kind of reached something of a consensus here, where I think we all understand, at least understand where the other person's coming from, if not have just gone on and agreed and agree with the way the other person was seeing it. I think that we all kind of understand that the PvP aspect of this game in particular is a crucial aspect to the game, and taking it away doesn't help the game, and also doesn't succeed in how did you explain it, to say it here, like something different from the WoW clones. It doesn't succeed in
outside of
doing
the
that.
box. Yeah,
right. And so it's something new, it's something different, and I just go back to what I had originally said in my video where I covered this topic, where I understand that there are a lot of people that are going to be coming to this game from games where they have not experienced being killed out while they're mining some rocks and losing all their ore, and they've never experienced before, and they're going to experience it in Ashes of Creation. And when that happens, don't quit, don't uninstall the game. You're going to lose some stuff. Go back and try to fight him. Go to town and tell people that it happened. Maybe 4 or 5 people will jump up to go defend. As we've already talked about, there's people already planning on being like node police to some degree.
Yes,
so
I don't want to. You're right. I don't want to be a dead horse. I don't want to beat a dead horse. But like I said, guys, it's all about finding the right community to play with. You're finding that right community and that server. Every server is going to be different from another server. If things just are not working out for you, don't be scared to start over. Scrap the server that you're on and start anew somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Actually, you don't even have to scrap. Just go to another corner of the world.
Yeah.
Right. The game's going to be so regionalized, you probably can just go to another corner of the world.
Because remember, it's not like, okay, I started here in the bottom corner and up here is the hardest monsters. The monster levels are done by node levels, so you go to the higher level nodes for the higher level monsters. So just go to another corner of the world. There's nothing stopping you from doing it.
Oh, that's funny.
I agree, man. I agree, man.
Protec, he's a funny guy.
Yeah, he's this whole, I know people are worried about the loss of experience you know, the loss of items. You know,
I
they're
think the
worried about
experience loss
stuff like
is just
that.
gonna have to get balanced out. Obviously,
Yeah,
right now it's
The
busted,
experience
but
loss is gonna. It is literally busted right now. It is
the item
literally
loss,
busted right now.
it's not the worst it's been in other games. Xillin pointed out Gaia had way worse. Eve, way worse.
Mhm.
The cool thing about it though is knowing that if that's gonna happen, like there are things like I remember one of my favorite things to see in Eve is people built up a bunch of very cheap ships, loaded them with incredibly powerful weapons but almost no armor, and just sent them in as kamikazes. It'll be
Yeah,
interesting to see
yeah.
how people get creative with similar aspects trying to game the system. Because even with like experience loss, you're still there. You're still a body, like we just saw right there. You can make it hard to get into a throne room. Just throw your useless corpse on top of somebody just to slow them down and see what happens.
I will say this too. Oh no, go ahead, please finish. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, but like these are things that can't happen in a game like World of Warcraft. So it'll be exciting to see that here.
Yeah. You know, this doesn't have anything to do with PvP, but it does definitely have to do with the whole hardcore nature. I just really hope that, you know, the experience. One thing that I experienced was the amount of experience that you get from kills was literally like null. Okay. It seemed like the only way to level in the game was to do quests, and I have never been a fan of, you know, having it be one of those things like, and I get it, it's alpha. So the values may not even be representative at all of the finished product. However, we're judging based on what we see. Okay. That being said, I really hope that they adjust things, because I'm not saying that like kill 5 enemies and ding. I'm not saying that at all. I am definitely for the idea of taking a long time to get to the final level. I don't want to just get there in 2 days. You know, I don't even know if I want to get there in a week. I want it to take some time. I want it to be something that's earned so that you can appreciate it. However, I also don't want my work to go unrewarded, I guess you could say. So I really hope that they adjust those values. So it's not just seems like, you know, you have to do the quests. And another thing that I'm not really a fan of, and this is not necessarily about hardcore, but a hardcore system or making a game hardcore, but I will mention this. And again, this is probably just because of alpha, but I really hope to God that the game is not filled with a whole bunch of fetch quests. Bring me 2 of these and 3 of these, kill 5 of these enemies, kill 6 of these. I'm so past that, guys, in MMOs. I can't tell you how far beyond that I am, you know? So I really hope that they have a team that is designing the quests and really kind of thinking outside of the box when it comes to that, and making some stuff that is kind of a little bit unique, at least. You know,
I
not
can
so
tell you
repetitive.
just from my experience in alpha, and you know, obviously the questing system is very sparse at this point.
I
there might be
figure
30
it is.
quests total.
I figure it is, but like I said, you can only judge on what
we're
you
lucky.
see.
Yeah,
You can only judge on what you see.
Right. So several of them are of the fetch quest or kill quest variety, which you would expect, because you're never going to get completely away from those, because otherwise you wouldn't have quests.
Oh yeah.
It'd be too complicated to write. But like, so there is one where you meet this guy who is like a cartographer. And your quest literally is, he tells you to go to different places, and it's like a series of quests, and you literally have to count how many steps you go in one direction and how many steps you go in another direction to help him like map out the area. So you're counting paces. Like, that's a totally different style of quest than
That is, I like that. I like that.
So they do have at least one that's not traditional.
Well, good.
And,
now all
I've
they
actually
need
done a
is
couple
300
others
more
like
of those.
yeah, and then we're good.
Yeah. No. I hear you.
I would say no escort quests, but caravans exist.
I don't dislike escort quests. I do like escort quests, and honestly, the style of the server might present its own issue when it comes to escort quests. And in Vertec, you say, how about the cave where you can do when you can do something that you shouldn't?
You have to read the directions.
Yeah.
From
I
what
like
we've
that.
seen, Intrepid's definitely not afraid of giving us options in our quest. There's more than one way of ending it, which is awesome.
I like that. There's one thing that I
Um,
really liked was when we went to the cave, guys, and you talked to that NPC outside of the cave with the mushrooms. You know, the mushroom cave with the spiders inside of it. I loved how you could keep on talking to the person over and over again and keep on poking and prodding for more information and more information. You could literally talk to her for days. It reminded me of in Diablo 3, the guy who is in his hut and he only shows up every once in a while, and he's in his hut and his wife is dead and she's bones, you know, and he's there, and every time you talk to him and you click him, he tells you a different, you know, joke about his wife, like, oh, I need to feed my wife, she's all skin and bones, you know what I mean? And just and like, oh, my wife, when she sleeps, she doesn't make a sound, she's silent as the grave, you know, and just all these like little jokes like that about his wife, and she's fucking dead in the chair. I love stuff like that. Big fan of things like that, you know.
Yeah.
I don't like things to be necessarily too simple, you know. I like fun, I like to have a good time, you know. So,
Yeah, I'm just happy that they're adding a lot of different ways of gaining experience. If you don't want to be questing, if you want to just throw on some Netflix or something, tune out and grind some mobs, you definitely can. You can just go collect mats. It's a lot of fun.
but is
But
that realistic though? Is that
I
realistic to
mean,
get experience? Because I literally found killing enemies, like I got almost no experience for killing enemies. I was literally on level 3 for over an hour.
it wouldn't be the first game where I did something that's stupid just to do it.
So let
So
me ask you guys this: do you guys think the leveling process for the experience to next level, do you think that they're doing it in a, I don't know what you would call it, where each level the amount of experience next level gets bigger and bigger and bigger, or do you think that it's consistent the whole way, so the time that it takes you to get from 3 to 4 is the same time that's going to take you to get to from like 45 to 46? You see what I'm saying? Or do you think they increase the experience point gap as you get higher level? Because I know, for
Probably
instance,
that.
like Elder Scrolls Online, for instance, it was very, very, very consistent. You didn't get from 3 to 4 by killing 5 enemies, you know, but it seemed like it was a very consistent flow from level to level to level. It seemed like it was the same, you know, and I hadn't seen MMOs do that before, and I found personally that I really like that. I kind of get tired when it's a game like World of Warcraft, for instance, where, you know, I play from 1 to 30, and that's my favorite part of it. Siri, why are you listening to me? Stop it.
Siri's
Stupid
always
frickin'.
listening.
She's listening to me, dude. It's freaking annoying me. Stop. God. Like the thing
while
is just
you
going like, fuck.
while you fight
They're
with modern
everywhere.
technology, I'm of the opinion I'm gonna wait to like comment too much on the level lean until probably mid to late A2.
Oh, I hear what you're saying. I'm a big theory crafter. I've always been a theory crafter. I've always
I
wanted.
think like I know the timeline Steven's shooting for and that Intrepid kind of wants. We'll see how that plays out as we go into testing. Yeah, it'll just depend, and of course it also kind of depends on, because right now we're all getting reset over and over and over again. I don't know what's going to happen during like the big reset for the stabilized testing, how that's going to look, and of course I don't know if we're going to be on the Alpha Isle the entire time we're testing, or if we're going to eventually see like the world closer to the betas. So all of that plays a
Good
role
question.
in leveling speed. It's because hands down the best thing for leveling is just consistency. Even if like
Is
World
what?
of Warcraft,
I'm sorry. Did you say consistency? Okay.
Yeah. So if that consistency isn't there, your leveling times are just going to spike over and over and over again. So who knows?
Yep.
who knows how fast it'll actually be. If you find yourself near a really high level node with a lot of people around you who can supply you gear, you might be able to level up pretty quick. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Maybe. Yeah,
Um,
with alpha, there's a lot of things that we can judge and make guesses about and stuff, but I don't think the leveling process is one of them. Like
Yeah.
they have it's like they turned it on and just said, yeah, whatever the numbers say, it doesn't matter. We're trying to figure out if we can get 1,000 people onboarded onto the server without causing
and
problems. We're
proof
not
of
worried
that
about
being
how
that if
fast
you're
they
level
level.
10 and you die 2 times, you might as well just re-roll. Quest
Yeah.
the XP get-
Oh man, dude, you're not even lying, bro. That's just really, really, really crazy, man.
Mhm.
That's really annoying. Yo, Wolf, thanks, buddy. How you doing? That's
Hey, man,
just
it's Wolfhard.
that's
I
crazy.
love that guy.
You say, Vertec, you say, I think definitely going the traditional experience increases between levels to expand time at each level. I mean, I hear what you're saying, man. I could go either or. I could go or have a decent amount each level. It's really the same. It just I kind of like it the other way. Instead of increasing it each time you level up, I kind of like it the other way because you get used to it. It prevents you from having that high level fatigue. You guys know what I'm talking about. When those last 10 levels are literally torture. I'd rather
They take as long as the first 40.
I'd rather it be from 1 to 50 be like, shit, man, can I just get my next damn level, instead of 40 to 50 being, oh my god, when do I get a level? I kind of rather have it the other way, personally. But again, we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens.
And another big judgment there is, like, with a lot of the WoW clones that we've been ragging on this whole time, there's
It's
nothing
so
to do
fun.
until you hit max level. There's literally nothing to do until you finally hit max level in the game.
Oh, see, I disagree. There's a whole
You're a hardcore
world.
leveler and you still haven't
There's
even hit
a
60.
whole world to freaking explore. There's underground caverns and like big ass mushrooms the size of trees to go and slap with your sword. What do you mean there's nothing to do? There's a whole world to do, bro.
Are you talking about in World of Warcraft?
No, fuck World of Warcraft. I'm talking about freaking Ashes of Creation, baby.
That's what I'm saying.
My bad.
In World of Warcraft pre-60 and in your traditional theme park game, there's nothing to do until you're at the end. Like you have to get to the next level.
See, that's another. I also disagree with you because I just love taking my time and enjoying.
You're biased as hell. You're a hardcore leveler. That's your entire channel. I don't care what your opinion is there. It's irrelevant to me. No, but for AOC,
I am, dude. I am. You're not wrong.
A lot more to do to just keep you entertained during the leveling process, because you can just focus on your nodes, and next thing you know, it's like, oh, I leveled up. I didn't even realize I was busy trying to get this mayor up, things like that. Yeah, I guess I didn't misspeak too much. Trailer Park Game, but still.
Yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it. No, you keep saying, Hero, you keep saying that you want the game to be a journey game and not a destination game, and that is one of the big benefits of the sandbox style game versus the theme park style game, is that by the very nature of it being a sandbox game, it is going to be a journey game. It's going to be about all the stuff that you can do, and it's also one of the drawbacks because there are a lot of people who are unwilling or unable to make their own goals and go achieve their own goals without having a system to hold their hands and lead them to the next area of the world. But that's a whole other thing.
You're right. You're right. And people got to understand the fact that you're getting into this game at node level 0. Okay, what is it called? The wilderness stage. Okay, you're getting into this. Getting to level 50 is going to do you no good if you don't have a metropolis. You're not going to be able to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, you want the metropolis so you can get that harder content. You want those dungeons. You want those raids and things. And I really think that those things are only going to unlock at the metropolis stage. Like, I don't know for a fact. But I believe that, right? I believe that. I'm sure there'll be some, but like, I'm talking about like,
even if you come in later and into more established, like, there's going to be so much that you can explore as you level up, as opposed to just like, especially like vanilla through Wrath was really, really bad about it until they cleaned things up in Cataclysm. where you could literally just run out of things to do and have to grind monsters if you didn't know the right
Yeah.
path to take. It took
Yeah.
what, like 10 years for us to figure out how to properly level in Classic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's not,
At
that
least.
shouldn't be as big of an issue here. I don't know if quests are going to scale with us or things like that. But it shouldn't be as big of an issue, which will help. It won't be less hardcore. It just means you're not going to be. It depends on what you consider hardcore. Like for WoW, the hardcore is mostly like, can you sustain beating on the same monster with an auto attack for 20 minutes at a time? I can't. It's just more of a test of what am I trying to say? Oh
Mhm.
no, I'm losing all my words. It's a test of patience more than an actual
Patience,
skill.
yeah.
Leveling in World of Warcraft. I'm curious to see how Ashes changes that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited too, man. It's just we'll see what happens, man. But
I
you
agree
know,
with Xillin.
what-
I think him and I did a pretty good job at convincing you PvP not bad.
So what do you guys think? Yeah, you guys did good. You guys, I'm very proud of you. Good job. So let me ask you guys: what can we as players do to keep PvP from overwhelming? What can we as PvE players, right? If you're a player that's really, really like heavy a PvE player, what can you do to keep the PvP from overwhelming you and kind of not necessarily just knocking you off course, but bringing your spirits down? You know what I mean? What can we
So
do
I have two
you know what I
answers
mean?
to that.
Okay.
I have two answers to that. One of those is that Intrepid is actually, they've actually thought this through quite a bit. And
Okay.
they've put a system in the game where if somebody just really, really, really wants to be a dick
Yeah.
and do, force you into PvP when you don't really want to be, they can. But the penalties for doing so are pretty harsh. And I'm not actually convinced that you're just going to have massive quantities of people running around just forcing people into PvP. I don't actually think that's going to happen. And the second part of the answer is more about what, the specific question you asked, what can you as a player do? And the answer is you're already doing it and you've been harping on it this entire podcast. And that's community. Like get with
Baby.
people, roll with other people. Don't just run around in the game by yourself and be a loner all the time. This game is designed, every single system in the game is designed to force you to be together, to like I said, either to cooperate or conflict with people everywhere you go. So if you're more on the cooperation side, if you would rather do the cooperation stuff, then do that and run with other people who want to cooperate. If you're into mining, find a mining consortium, and all you guys do is go out together and mine all the ore so that you can bring it back to town and craft it. And you're doing it in relative safety. Because there's 20 of you.
Or you guys can pool your money together. And you guys can hire like a couple of freaking decked out bodyguards to come and hang out with you guys and
Ding, ding,
freaking
ding.
like while you guys mine and shit,
Yep.
Dude, I mean, like that's why I was saying earlier about the whole RP thing. Hey, Maezriel, again, do me a favor and shoot that in the chat, okay? The Discord. Guys, if any of you guys are looking for a role-playing, the Ashes of Creation unofficial role-playing Discord, please go to that Discord and join, okay? It's a whole bunch of people that are wanting to play on the same realm, that are trying to create a huge like role-playing community. And even if role-playing is not your thing, and I'll be doing a podcast on that in the future, Maezriel will be in it, and then Xillin from the Discord will also be in it. He's one of the admins of that Discord. He'll also be on that podcast when we do it. And we'll be talking all about the role-playing community. However, even if you're not somebody who likes to, be in character and everything like that, you're not that imaginative when it comes to roleplay, neither am I. However, being part of a world that seems like it's living, breathing, where, people are going to be playing like a certain way, according to certain rules that they've developed for themselves, is and how they want to interact with in that world, I just think that's like the game within the game within the game to me. I just think that's awesome. You know what I mean?
And
so
like we
that's
talked
available
on,
to you, right?
If you
That's
remove the
available to you.
PvP, you remove all that community building that would have happened.
You're right.
there.
You're right. You're right. If you remove the PvP, you remove the so it's kind of one of those things that's just, if there's any takeaways that you get from today's podcast, I would say that a good community will definitely help you out and stay positive, and don't be afraid to find a different home if this home's not working out for you. You know what I mean? If you're on a server that you really just like, there's some people on it you really just don't care for, you know, find another one. There's so many different servers, and every server is going to be different from the next. You know, don't be in a rush. Don't think that, you know, the train's going to get there without you and you're going to miss out. Enjoy the game, take your time. You know, it's going to be going for years and years and years and years. So, I mean, that's what I would say. What else? So what do you guys think Intrepid could do to assist with PvE players? I would say personally, listen to player feedback. You know, watch this podcast, Steven. No, listen to player feedback. That'd be awesome if they did. You know, if you guys watch this on YouTube, man, let's, you know, let me know that you guys saw this. It would really mean a lot. You know, I'm sure it would mean a lot to Maezriel and Xillin as well. But you know, but I think listening to player feedback is really.
I don't think there's a lot Intrepid needs to do outside of just follow the course that they've set out for now.
I think listening to feedback is really important, though. You know what I mean? To kind of know what the people are thinking, you know, things like that. And they've been doing it well, so I'm not gonna.
Sure. I think there's a balance
act like that's
to
something new.
For,
you know,
for example, like some people like ask for UI elements. I know Steven is very against UI elements. Well, he might need to listen to the player feedback in forms of like accessibility.
Yeah.
But for like bigger system level things, I think the system is solid. They just need to make it. Combat needs to be good, and the nodes need to be good. If they can hammer those two down, everything else is subject to change. They need to get those two down, and I think that's really all they need to concentrate on for now. There's a lot of player feedback. I mean, there's all the love and respect in the world is going to be like yours, Hero, where they're like, no, I want really tight raids. And like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You do not want to fight for an hour to get to a raid, already has some experience debt, die to the boss or to the player that's stabbing you in the back, get more experience debt to try to grind that off on your way back. No, you don't. Like, most people don't want to do 300 rounds on Mythic Nathria. You definitely don't want to do this. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be exhausting. So yeah, I think their systems are solid enough as is. I think there's a lot of good heads in Intrepid, and they figured it out. I don't know. I wonder if chat has any questions.
Yeah, Ashes of Nera said people have to adopt a mindset like in Eve, where you don't carry around loose stuff. You can't afford to lose, especially not as solo. That's really true. Reminds me of when I played EverQuest 2 for the first time. This was in the beginning, guys, when there was World PvP. Played on a PvP server. There was World PvP, and if you died, you dropped your money. Okay, this was they ended up taking that out. But I remember I was questing, and a Froglock came up and tried to take on the throne. He didn't win. He dropped over a platinum. And I don't know if you guys remember when, you know, a platinum in EverQuest is a good amount of money because it goes copper, silver, gold, platinum. You know, you got to have 100 of each, I believe, in order to get one of the other. So he dropped like a platinum and some silver or gold or something like that. I snatched that up and I hit whatever recall or whatever that spell is, went back to my home point, went straight to the bank, put the money in the bank, and I went out there in the world. And I remember he found me and he killed me. He waited for me to get low on health and he killed me and he got nothing. And I have never been so happy running back to my body as I was in that point. You know what I mean? Yep. So yeah, you've got to be willing to not take anything more than what you're prepared to lose. If you guys have any questions about, you guys want to talk about PvP, PVE, or you guys have any questions to ask, or stuff that you guys want to let us know, that would be nice too. Feel free to let us know. But what are your like major takeaways, Xillin?
From this podcast?
Pretty much, yeah. About everything that we've talked about.
I mean, we
I know it's
kind
a lot.
of hammered a lot of it a lot, but you know, a community. If you're not right now trying to find a community, and you'll notice that I didn't say guild, and I'm avoiding the word guild there on purpose.
Exactly.
If you're not trying to find a community right now, and you're planning on playing this game, I think you're doing it wrong. You need to start finding some people that are like-minded as you, that are going to play the game in a similar way, that kind of see things in a similar way, because rolling in groups is going to be really important. And I really hope that for the people who watched live, and for the people who will end up watching the replay on YouTube or wherever it ends up going up, that you guys are able to take away that while yes, this game is going to be a situation that's where you're going to be forced into PvP when that you don't necessarily want to. In the end, it's probably going to make a different or better game for you. And my key thing on that is, on the other side of that, if you can just go through the loss of stuff that you're going to experience, if you can keep power through that, on the other side of that is a gaming experience that's unlike anything you've experienced if you haven't been playing old school UO or playing Eve or one of these like very small handful of games that have similar type PvP mechanics and losing your stuff. So if you haven't done that, power through it, because I'm telling you, there's an experience you have never dealt with before on the other side of that.
110%. There's nothing like logging in and having people go, "Oh wow, I know who you are." Like it's a surreal experience to be like to be a known quantity in a world, virtual or otherwise, and
right.
It's something that's unique to a game like this. It doesn't really happen anywhere else.
Very, very, very little. Eve has that.
Outside of being a Twitch streamer, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
Short.
Well, I will say this, guys. I really enjoyed this podcast, and I wanted to thank you guys very much for coming on such short notice. We really just kind of threw this together last minute because the alpha test today got canceled. So and you can tell that it was thrown together because I was having some issues with the video, and you see Maezriel with the name Xillin on the top left and Xillin with the name Maezriel on the top right, and it really should have been the little switcheroo, but sorry about that, guys, for doing that. Everybody knows who you guys are, but hey, guys, Maezriel, why don't you put a link to your Twitch up? You guys can find Maezriel at soon at twitch.tv/Maezriel, Maezriel. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I will be putting a link down below. When are you going to start streaming, buddy?
7th.
The 7th in 3 days, guys. And you're going to start with what? Fallout?
Probably.
Probably. Okay. And, you guys can find Xillin at twitch.tv/Xillin_live, or Discord Xillin #8529, or on YouTube by the name Xillin. All right. Xillin, what are you playing right now besides besides the alpha? Are you streaming anything else at all? Or are you only doing Ashes of Creation content?
Right this second, as far as content is concerned, I'm only doing Ashes of Creation. At some point I want to expand out a little bit and do that. That's why I kind of like my eyes kind of lit up a little bit when Wolfhard FPS came into the channel. I don't know if you guys even know who he is, but he's fairly large YouTuber, and
he's a good guy.
And his channel actually is kind of a big part of the inspiration for my channel. I want to do similar style things where I cover a lot of RPGs and MMOs like he does. So at some point I will move on to that. But right now I'm trying to build the base with Ashes of Creation. So right now that's pretty much all you're going to find on my channel.
Okay. Well, that's consistency. There's nothing wrong with consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys can obviously find me here if you guys haven't already. I mean, thank you for everybody who did follow. Thank you so much for the raid early. I really appreciate it, guys. I also do have you go down to the panels below. You can click the YouTube. And actually, Xillin, if you would throw a link up to your Twitch, please do that into the chat, and then I will put a link to his Twitch and YouTube in down in the description below for those of you guys who are watching this on YouTube. And I am currently playing I'm sorry, no, I'm not. I'm currently playing World of Warcraft, and I am playing Classic, Burning Crusade, and I am playing Hardcore, which means that if I die, I have to delete my character. Okay.
Oh no.
And I have, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and I really like streaming it. I have planned, after I get to 70 on one character, my next one is going to be Nightmare Mode, which is a whole rule set that, or not, additional rule sets where I'm going to make I'm going to make it black and white. So I have to play in black and white. I'm going to turn, the brightness down and things like that. It's going to play horror music in the background. It's going to be pretty fun. It's also going to be hardcore with no nameplates. So that's going to be a good time. But I'm going to continue doing the Podcast of Verra, guys. If any of you guys are interested in ever maybe being on an episode, I have one coming up about accessibility. And I know who's going to be doing that with me. I have one about the role-playing, the whole role-playing community, and a couple of others. So thank you everybody for hanging out with us. I really appreciate it, and we will see you guys on the next one, okay?